Darren, recovery. Where are we in Scotland right now with the recovery scene?
As a nation or local.
I don't know. We would wherever it takes you. I
So
hear a lot about recovery. It's everywhere now.
that's
It,
everywhere.
it's
So
it's
there's a big debate about recovery. So in Scotland, especially, just the demographics very hard to navigate. So the Scottish government they're obviously big harm reductionist, and then you've got the majority. So harm reduction basically means like if I was injecting drugs today, right? So if I get them like smoking it, I'm reducing the harms. Or if I'm giving them clean needles or whatever. So you're reducing the harms of your time, right? And then you've got other focus, other maybe recovery organisations, third sector, with a strong abstinence base. And then they're preaching this. And then there's, on the whole, on the kind of public eye, it's a division while saying that they want to connect. So one side's no willing to bow and the other side's no willing to bow. Whereas to me, recovery and harm reduction, the two of the same things. You need to even get rid of the words, right? I'm next year I'll be getting rid of recovery that means recovery. For the reason being, it's a kind of stigmatising word now, I think. Because it's getting flung about, it's getting bandied about, right? And like you say, like I'm even confused. Do you know what I mean? Folks say harm reduction is recovery, folks say total abstinence recovery, folks say you're still in treatment and on recovery. And you're like, wait a minute, like, the drug deaths in Scotland are shocking, man. Like, in fact, so can I half track? So in North Ayrshire, there's no crisis focus. So we've got these people, right, and we're not a city, right, so we couldn't have 24 hours support. But there was one incident, an individual, fuck, recently released from prison, right? So we'd been working with him through the prison for a year. He had a lot of unresolved trauma, whatever. Plans and action in his own liberation. Comes out, goes into treatment, comes out of treatment, listening to other people. In and out. Pure wreck, man. Pure sad, man. He's connected with his granddaughter. But anyway, so my point is, so the other 4 weeks ago, I was in my office, 6 o'clock at night, right? You're kind of readying up, right? Because it's your work, you know what I mean? You're done and you're emotionally drained, your cup's kind of empty, and you get a call through X, Y, and Z, something's happened. So you go dealing with homeless, so you're dealing at 9 o'clock at night, eventually get something through. Uh, the support's not there for them, right? Like, because it's a whole system approach. They've not got the resources, whatever. They don't engage. 2 weeks later, he's dead. Do you know what I mean? And it's that focus, and when they go into treatment, when they go on a prescription, because of this language of recovery. So they're using drugs, but they're not want to go on treatment because they want recovery, but they say it's total abstinence, and total abstinence works. Do you know what I mean? I'm not knocking it, but the other thing works as well. And who's to say down the line they don't get total abstinence? It worked for me. I was ravaged. There's no danger I could have came from injecting heroin to total abstinence. Impossible. It was a process. It was a process for me to inject drugs. It took years till I progressed. Do you know what I mean? So how can you expect? My point is, so recovery. It's we could talk about this all day, but to try and kind of break it down nationally, obviously that affects us on a local basis because we need to follow probable. It's getting put down ADP priorities or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the whole system needs to. The whole system's fucked, man, and it's costing lives. And families are devastated, and listen, don't get me wrong, there's lived experience now on board, consulting or in places of power, uh, people with education, so they know how to fight it. But it's a fucking division, man. It's a division. I've got a so my sign's like two paper clips, and they're connected. If I was to take the two paper clips apart, they're no longer connected, right? Do you know what I mean? I could sit one end of the room, sit one at the other end of the room, and fill my table with shite.
Yeah.
This is all the shite of the days come in between it.
Yeah.
And it's how do we, and natives really want to navigate through that. They kind of navigate so far, and then something gets said or whatever, and then it's back. And I noticed it relate to like funding as well. Do you know what I mean? Like I've spoke to us in length about funding and the priorities, and sometimes the funding it's what you're doing isn't the impact you want to make, but you need to. Do you know what I mean? It's all designed as a kind of, I wouldn't say competition, but
Of course it is.
at uni we learned that I was learning about the hegemony. Do you know what I mean? And like counter hegemony. So hegemony is the power system. And how do you break that? Do you know what I mean? But I think you need to work with, everybody needs to work together. But I think this term recovery is outdated, man. It's change the narrative. Do you know what I mean? Like and change your personal opinion, because this is a big thing, right? So this isn't a personalised level, this isn't, but at the same time it is national and it is local. So if my personal recovery is, just say for talk's sake, I'm a Christian, right? So my recovery is based on God, right? And then the other person's maybe a different faith, or the other person's a harm reductionist. They're bringing their personal opinion into your workplace. So there's your professional bias already tainted, and now you're not willing to work with because your opinions differ. Whereas we're all human beings, right? We're all interconnected. It doesn't matter about your personal opinions. Me and your personal opinions don't always align, right? But we don't get that. We don't let that get in the way of connecting each other. We talk about it. I listen to your opinion, you listen to my opinion, we come to a conclusion. Maybe not always agree, right? But I'm like, and then you get a wee insight like, oh, wait a minute here.
Yeah.
He's on to something.
Yeah.
And it's how, if you could bring that all together, do you know what I mean?
But Darren, is the goal for all these bodies and people, organisations, whatever, the goal, and I'm wondering, I'm asking you because I might be naive here, ultimately the goal is the same. The goal is for you not to be, I don't even know if I'm going to use the right words, but you know me, I don't really
sorry, I didn't use right words.
the goal is for the person not to be abusing something of some sort and to be living a free sort of unhealthy life, yeah, or no, kill themselves or something. I'm not really sure.
I know what you mean.
So through all the politicalised parts and all the different balconies and views and belief systems, the core principle of all the recovery scene surely is the same. And do you think that gets lost in people?
Oh, so this is a good analogy for it, right? A game of football, two opposing teams. What's their objective?
Win.
How do they win?
Go.
Score
and not
goals.
concede.
They're scoring goals, right? But it's just the opposite ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's exact same nets.
Yeah.
So like you said, so the nets could represent the health of a person, right? But they're two opposing teams, Kev. Right? And it's that mentality that you need to, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So listen, and I'm no, I'll agree with it. So if I was doing a hang on that, I would appeal to the basic humanity. Why are we all here? Right? And I can guarantee you, 100% would probably say what me and you just said there, right? And it's like, right, so let's work off that then. Let's take that as our core, let's take that as our basis, right? That's our number one priority, right? So how do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it, right? And it's none of this, don't be saying, oh, you're doing it wrong. Or, aye, Dan, see the way you talk. No, listen, the way I fucking talk's not to do with it.
No.
We're not here the way I talk. We're here for this goal. We've got folk out there dying daily. We've got folk in prison that the prison isn't equipped to deal with, right? Do you know what I mean? They're overcrowded. mental health issues, the drug culture's changed so much, I can't even keep up with it. Do you know what I mean? It's changed so much in the last couple of years, and for whatever reason, right? And it's ravaged. It's fucking ravaged. There's, for instance, so announce just say announce a spice, right? Spice it is. I can't keep up with it, right? Lucky if you got £100 outside, right? Nobody's interested in it, right? In the jail, talking 10 grand, and you don't know what's in it. Different mix, right? So we need to realise the demographic of drugs are changing, right? Get ahead of the times. But we maybe feel as if we're in opposing teams, but take the fucking shirt off, right? See whatever shirt you're wearing. I'll take my. Just say my Minds of Recovery shirt's a Rangers start. I'll take it off.
Yep.
You take a Celtic top off, and at the core, we're skin, we're humans. Let's work in this goal. A fucking stop the drug deaths. I've got to use the word I said. I don't. Getting folk into recovery, whatever that may be, and especially with the amount of standards, it's meant to be person-centred. It's not meant to be my recovery or yours, but there needs to be a broad, and there's organisations like Scottish Recovery Consortium that are bringing people together, all the organisations, lived experience organisations, and we're all talking, and then they feed it back to Scottish Government or whatever, right? But it's like you say, it's politicalised.
But Darren, something that I feel like you're seeing is going through that what I witnessed years ago with the whole mental health scene. I'm going to make a comparison. You know, I remember when I first sort of started with the fads and stuff like that, and I got put forward for this award. I'll never forget being in the room, packed full of charities, Chris Boyd's, all the different ones, absolutely packed, and they're all there. They're looking amazing. They're dressed up to the nine, you know, and everybody.
Beautiful.
I could feel the entitlement in the room, you know, and I was just there in this staff Facebook group, you know, sitting there at the back of the room. I was in the cheap seats at the back, up against the Chris Boyds and all these different ones. And I'll never ever forget when they shouted out my name. I remember telling Billy Kirkwood for West FM DJ, I said to him, if by some crazy thing that I get shouted up there, I'm going to make this speech count. And I'll never forget it. And I feel like this is what you're experiencing as well. I walked up onto the stage and I says, look at all this power in this room, but all of us are acting as individuals. Not we will refuse to work collectively. And I told them that I'd reached out to all of them through their social media accounts and all that. And I says, look, we're doing this work. We don't get any funding. We're not looking for any funding. We're just looking to use the power of our momentum and help yous. And if we do that, then others might do that. And if we all do that, then we could create a tidal wave. None of them answered, completely blank, because their egos was getting in the way. They couldn't bring themselves to just reply to this, like you say, talks a bit different, sounds a bit different, looks a bit different. You know,
But at the core, you're doing the same work.
Isn't he a charity? Isn't he? Nah, we're not working with that. That doesn't fit us. Well, where's that getting you? Because fucking people are still dying at an alarming rate. And I listen to you and I go, we're still not learning. I really believe ego is at the core of this. I really believe that. I think you put people into people like somebody ends up saying an organisation like a recovery organisation, or we can stay away for that, and we can say a mental health, a charity, whatever it is, and they drive forward, and then it gets to a place where their ego takes over. One, they need to protect this thing that they've built, and two, they can't bring themselves to lower their guard and see the person that they're currently viewing as competition is actually a potential ally. And when they get consumed in this way of thought, then it's it's disabling, it's no enabling. It's not going to prevent it's fucking not going to prevent drug deaths.
No preventive, it's no preventive.
It's not going to fucking prevent drug deaths by Mr. Guy over here looking over at Mr. Darren Anderson with Mind and Recovery and going, well, I don't like the way he talks. Well, what the fuck is that going to do to help people in both of our communities? Because the reality is, if I can see past my fucking ego and maybe pop along to something that you're doing, I'll go, oh, the way he talks is actually one of his greatest gifts. If
Because
they
the
came
people they're
along and see
working with.
you in a prison and they see you in a this and they see you in a that, they go, ah, how could I forge a relationship with this guy, break down the political barriers or the funding competition that we're both in? How could we both go for funding together now? How could we both be in the right rooms to get? We just cannot fucking open our minds, drop the ego, and start seeing past our own self.
I think you said an interesting word, right? But you said we're not learning. I think we are learning, but we're not acting on it.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this. Everybody knows it's like the elephant in the room, right? And it's like you say, it's like nobody wants to approach the elephant in the room. So you come in, me and your egos, right? Just using me, right?
Yeah.
You're doing X, and I'm doing Y, right? And it would complement like fuck each other, right? You get beautiful stuff out of it, the engagement, your strengths against my weaknesses, and vice versa, right? And and it's on, right? Oh, hi Kev. Oh, I love your stuff, Kevin. And then you're away.
Hi.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no, and it's everybody knows it's. And see if you don't know, you're not really you shouldn't be in the tent anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's fucking like, see the new like we're for the same area. The areas are fucking ravaged, man. It's like the realm of the hungry ghosts.
Can I ask you about that? Something's on my mind, and I wanted to get your insight because, again, I think some of my questions for you maybe feels like naivety, but something that I see a change in the general population around young people being much more into fitness, gyms, how they look, keeping up. And by the way, that's another subject altogether, right? What, but what I see looking in is a change in mentality for the general population, right?
Hmm.
So what does that look like for what the work that you're doing?
My
Is
generation.
is it that you have that, but then you have the like they talk about if you go to London, you've got the street all the folk, the tourists are walking down, and two streets behind, you've got another world, right? Or New York or
Another
something like that.
London.
I'm using a really shit analogy, but what I'm trying to ask you a little bit about is it that yes, that is a reality of what you're seeing for the general sort of young folk coming in, they're more into gym, they're more into image, they're more into health, biomarkers and all that. But there's the lost generation that's behind the scene there's an undercurrent that we're still losing at the same rate. I'm just trying to understand it
I
a bit
think
more,
I again I disagree with you.
right?
So the reason being is, and I've seen it. You know, I take folk to the gym and I do sessions with them. I think the gym's a good way to connect with people, especially the young people, like you says, because they're not really going to want to go to like a group and it's all hardcore addicts like me. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's happening, bro, and all that. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I think there's a big movement with the young people and they're more invested in themselves, right? But I know there's I'll say minority, right? And I hope it's a minority. They're still using drugs at the weekend, right? So they're using it on the Friday, right? Or the Ket, right? Ket's a big thing now, right? Ket's fucking, especially young people, I think called Calvin Klein. So it's Coke and Ket. So the CJ, Calvin Klein, right? In the schools, in North Ayrshire as well, schools, it's what's it called? Oh, I forget. So is it, oh, what's it called? Lean. So it's codeine. They're getting for like Telegram, the dark web, and all that. Bottles of codeine with Vimto in it. And it's school weans, especially young girls. But this generation that you see going to the gym, the reason they're going to the gym is, and I'm not saying them all, I'm not stigmatising, I'm just
Yeah.
saying from my experience and working with young people, the chances are they've been on it from Friday to Sunday, fucking mentally wrecked, right? And then they're going to the gym as a kind of get through the week, invest in themselves, and then they're away again, and then if society's fortunate enough, you'll maybe pick them up down the line, but the chances are they'll never speak about that. They'll never recognise it as an issue. They'll never try and address it, and it will follow them through their life. And you'll see their mental health. Even if they stop in a few years, right, the drugs now, with the shite in them, say for instance the stuff in the jail, right, spice. So you only need a salt crystal, right? A fucking salt crystal, Kev. So the jail bring all this stuff out to it. So you can't smoke, so there's no lighters, right? So this is how the jail system, this is the history how the jail system, the drug culture changed, right? In the 80s, early 80s, 70s, early 80s, it was hash, right? And Jimmy. So then they bring in drug testing, right? So hash stays in your system for 28 days. If you're chasing parole, move on to an open, and then heroin come in. So heroin come in like when they stopped the jellies, remember everybody was injecting jellies. Addicts will always find an alternative, right? They're so resourceful. Doesn't matter what barriers we put in place. There's always somebody willing to make something. So then heroin come in a big way, right? Because it was the closest drug to it. But heroin comes out your system in 3 days. So then that gets introduced to the jail system, right? And me and you spoke about it. Like me personally, I've had worse habits. I've left jail with worse habits than I did outside.
Yeah.
So you're obviously going out to use, right? But and then they bring the smoking ban in, right? Yeah. So there's a drug culture changed again. So now it's all like, remember years ago we caught them legal?
Yeah.
Because it was like fucking plant seeds and like crystal, all that stuff, right? Methamphetamine, whatever you cry it. And now, but it's the drug they get. So it's like folk call it Tiz and legal. I call it legal and Tiz, right? So Tiz is like maybe a kind of Valium. Like just you could go into right into like all right, but the effects are the same. And it's a fucking salt crystal and you put it in your pod. So you can still buy vapes in there. But what happens with this, right? See they're coming off it. So it's £25 a pod, by the way. Right? One's a salt crystal in it. Some folk are going through 5 pods a day. It's fucking crazy, right? But see they're coming off it. That wee salt crystal crystallises the liquid, see the vape liquid. And then it's going in and it's acting like a wax and it's sticking to other bodies. So there's folk, it's causing more damage folk coming off it, and it's no like a methadone prescription, it's not like Valium. There's no treatment because it's so new and people aren't recognising it because it's in the prison, do you know what I mean? But what they need to realise, these people are getting liberated, and they maybe not taking liberation, they maybe go on other drugs, but the damage is sticking to their liver, their body like a wax, like I said, like a napalm. They're getting into seizures, they're getting sectioned through the jail, they're getting taken to hospital, all these resources, whereas fucking address it. Do you know what I mean? Look at what is these drugs. And I know the mix is always different, right? And I know we were talking about young people, but that was just an example of that. And then you've got the lean 14-year-old lassies. Waynes, man. Fucking Waynes. Own this lean, right? By the time they're 18, their insides are fucked with ket. They're in and out of hospital. Do you know what I mean? Kidneys failing, ravaged inside.
And mentally as well.
Mentally as well, right? And a lot of them are seeking treatment. So either got to, and I'm not saying it as a whole, right? I'm not pigeonholing them all, right? But I know there's a minority. So if there's a minority here, they're every. It's been. And
so
then
did you hear the episode I recorded with Harvey?
No yet.
You need to hear that. That was an absolute eye-opener episode for so many other people because Harvey, it was a fully functioning young athlete with the world at his feet. Well, he still is because he's now really flying again. But what he was doing, the recreational damage he was doing, and it was a fantastic cover story he had. Looking in on it, it looked immaculate. It looked pristine because he was so fit. that he was able to continue to push it down,
Mm.
push it down, push it down, you know, and
But it comes out.
and he was taking different things at the parties and the raves or whatever, and then that manifested itself. It was taking hold of the mind. It was like weaving its
Mm.
roots
Uh,
into the brain, and till he had a full blown, nervous breakdown almost, where he took he had one party too much, and then the come down sent him over the edge. Now, I think what the messages I got post episode of that getting out. Obviously, I was up in the hospital with him. He was sectioned and everything. I was in the room with him, and he was. I imagine he was like the way, like a character at a horror film, climbing up the ceiling and fucking. He was gone, absolutely gone. But when that episode went out for the population, if you like, I don't know if I'd made it was a balance between young people and parents going,
it identified with it.
holy shit, that I recognise all this cycle, I recognise these behaviours. So I'm no disagreeing with you. I think it was more, and that was a really insightful answer. I'm not putting out there that suddenly young people have stopped taking gear and stopped partying, and so I think what you've done is you've sort of shown a light on the different types of highs that young people are
Mm.
chasing. And again, you and I have learned that at the core of all this is you're trying to mask something, you're trying to run away from something, you're trying
No.
to find something that life's
Mm.
currently giving you, and in all different sort of ways. And I think what you're talking about there is the game's no changed that much, but it's changed in terms of the weapons of choice.
Aye, the weapons are different. I'd say the weapons are worse, to be fair.
It sounds
See,
like it. Sounds
the
what you're
drugs,
saying. It sounds like it.
like I know this sounds, but I'll be honest. So when I took drugs, I knew what they were.
Aye.
If I was buying Valium, I knew what they were. Probably a Roche or whatever. Do you know what I mean? New Valium. If I was buying heroin, I knew what it was. And then probably a big factor I stopped taking drugs. Do you know what I mean? Because I like drugs. I've always admitted it. I like the effects of it. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? I liked what it done to me, like you say. All this stuff that was masking, couldn't cope with. Do you know what I mean? But the drug culture now is unbelievable, man. It's poison. And look at the spiking in nightclubs. Do you know what I mean? Folk getting spiked in nightclubs, young lassies, boys. It's just that where does this culture come from? Is it social media? Is it the addiction to porn with young people? Do you know what I mean? There's a majority of young people addicted to porn because it's so widely available. Whereas when we were younger, it would have been like a scuddy mag out of the garage or something after a night out. Do you know what I mean? They've got it in their phone. And all this stuff is corrupting the mind. So the values, your social network, who you're listening to, what environment you're in, so social media, I like social media, right? Because it's social media, it's only the people that use it that makes it a positive or negative.
Yeah.
But I think some of this, the chemsex, the lean, the Calvin Klein, whatever else you can have, that stuff, I can't even, there's like an acronym for acid. Do you know what I mean? The Mandy and all that. And then the results of this porn addiction, the way they view sex, the way you view the opposite sex, the way women view yourself, the way boys view yourself. And it's this role you've talked about, you're big on the roles. So if your network has influenced your role, and a lot of young people's network is social media, do you know what I mean? And then they're maybe going with their pals. But at the core, and then it's expanding out, and then it's, because look at the dark web, Telegram. Well, you could go on Telegram now and get a drop off like that, rapid. I was shocked the first time I downloaded it, and it was all these I'm not addictive. No, all these dealers, pure gold is brass. Do you know what I mean? And police have no power or under resources. But at the end result, what's going to happen to these young people in 5 year time, 10 year time? Do you know what I mean? The mental health crisis. So take even recovery out it right. So drugs have been the product that's maybe caused it, right? But see the mental health crisis in Scotland. Now you know, me and you both know how hard it is to get somebody support. If they're feeling suicidal, how hard it is to get them sanctioned. It's fucking under resources. You get brilliant charities of police doing brilliant work, right? But solely run by volunteers, do you know what I mean? So they're picking up, just like I'm picking up the slack with they're picking up the slack for another organisation or whatever. And I'm just saying this as an example, right? But it's not really right. Do you know what I mean?
No.
But they're saving lives, and it's fucking, and you're like, where's this cup? There's no enough. There's no enough releases. Do you know what I mean? There's no enough means of recovery. There's no enough services, rehabs, recovery groups, whatever. Especially not if Irving's saturated, right? But go it with. I've opened a group in Cowannon, right? So Cowannon's been an under-invested area, the term, right, for years. It's hard to make an impact, right? And then you're lucky since I've opened it, maybe 10 folk through it, which is good, right? But it's how do you target this? And then you go further afield, then you've got Kilbirnie, Dorai, Glengarnock. Same issues, right? So if I'm an Irving moaning about being under-resourced, right? And obviously my intention is to reach them, right? And to build connections, right? But what about them?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? But like I said, I like the word. I like the word the release, like the what the MD. But it's a mental health aspect. Take drugs. Drugs is only the fucking. See drugs. That's just what you see. Do you know what I mean? We spoke about this. Folk just seen me the addict. Didn't see the stuff going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Like the pyramid thing. You're seeing just this above the water.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're not seeing is
all the stuff, all the flood, right? But even if you come after drugs, right, you need the intensive support. You need the wraparound support. You need the recovery-oriented systems of care. You need folk like release, but it needs to be whole system approaches, and it needs to be targeted, because we think Scotland's bad now, right? I fear for Wayne's growing up, like Grand Wayne's or whatever, right? 10-year time, 20-year time, 30-year time, even when we're not here, what's the landscape going to be like? What issues are going to arise in the community? Because we can't grasp them now, right? We're playing catch up, and I include myself in that. Do you know what I mean? Under resources, overworked. I'm working fucking this past 2 weeks. I'm coming in at 7, 8, and I'm working till 11 at night, some night, most nights. Do you know what I mean? Pure fucked. But then if you don't, you're going to be more fucked in time to come, because you're picking it up and you're like, so where's the impact of it? I know I'm kind of African in a tangent, right? But I do actually fear for 5-year time, 10-year time, when the young people, my generation that run it right, if they want to come good and you support them, but we've kind of done the damage. You know what I mean? But how do you target these young people? How do you reach them? Because they're not seeing it as an issue. They're not seeing the way they view women as an issue, because they're so, like, porn addictions. I know I'm going to frame it. Imagine so I'm injecting, right? I can only inject so much drugs into me. I'm either going to crash out or overdose, right? Or run out of drugs, right? But so if I've got porn on my screen, right, I'm getting all this fucking porn injected into my eyes, rapid, and then you're swiping. So the Wayne's dopamine levels are getting sky high. And see if you're burning your dopamine out, what happens? Crashing, right? And then you're getting used to whatever that you're watching, right? You're getting used to it.
Yeah.
So it's like me with cannabis. What happens when I get used to cannabis? Start taking Eckies.
Yeah.
Start taking Valium. Start taking heroin. Start taking crack. Start injecting it. And it's the same with these values of porn. I'm just using porn as an example, right? Because nobody's talking about porn addiction, and I'm supporting a few young people with it, and it's fucking devastating, the impact on it with the families, with individual, and there's no drugs involved sometimes, it's just this, like, actually pure withdrawal symptoms, anxiety, disconnected from social interactions, what's that word? Introverted, no, and then mental health shot, and nobody's addressing it. Do you know, I know I'm in porn addiction, I've only lived it a couple of times, and it's just, but I think, so that's an addiction. It's basic same. See if I've got a picture, right? See porn addiction. See you take a picture of a porn addicted brain,
Yeah.
and you take a picture of my brain when I was on the kit and the heroin. So see all the bits that are damaged, all your lobes, exact same. So that person's not even taking a substance into their body, but they don't view it as that. And
they're still burning out their brain cells.
Still burning out the brain cells.
Yeah.
And then
because the brain can't sustain that level.
Can't sustain it, man.
Aye. They talk about that, you made reference to it earlier. Simon Sinek, we might have talked about this before, but I know I've certainly talked about it with somebody. Simon Sinek talks about the mobile phones. Mobile phones are for the level of dopamine a young person gets from a mobile phone, it should be illegal for a young person to have a mobile phone, because the levels of dopamine are on par with alcohol and smoking and sex. None of those things a young person's allowed to do before a certain age. Yet we go like that. There you go, pal. Go for it.
There's four-year-old Wayne, there's your iPad.
There you go for it.
Easy parenting, and I'm not dissing it. I'm not that thing, but it's because it's a culture. But is it so? Is it Wayne's developing emotionally up to the age of 25? I was a late starter. I was 43 right enough, but the Wayne's 25, right? So you're not. So that's when you're kind of all your emotions are kind of, they're kind of working their way out in it. They're kind of developed. But if you're 14, 12, whatever, you're exposed to this, even TikToker.
Yeah.
Okay, I used to be bad on my phone, right? And it's probably affected relationships or whatever. I was probably addicted to it, right? So now I can see my phone, I can leave it. I can leave it for days. But know what I noticed though? See when you do, folks spit it on it, right? And you see me down the town. And it's just because it's so, the phone, everything's wrapped up in this phone. The social connection's wrapped up in the phone. If you don't answer the mail in a certain time, it's all this drama for it.
Yeah.
Listen, so I'm not, like, why? I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, listen, I've got my one of my brothers, he'll say, I rung you last night, and I'm like, he's like, you're murder to get hold of, and I'm like, no, I'm easy to get hold of if you do it within what's my window. But at night time, my phone's down or it's in dark mode or whatever, I'm no near it because I need to switch off it. Because if I'm stimulated right up to bedtime, I'm going to affect my sleep. I can't have that because my sleep's my most important medicine. That's no me talking spiritual, that's just me fucking understanding. So if you imagine, again, we're sort of talking about young people here, which is no fair just to pick a name, but if you're a young person with this, and it is like that, you're lying in your bed and you're getting group chats and all that, and they're overflowing with pressures and expectations and fucking dark meanings to messages and
different identities.
And you're like that, boom, 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 and you can't switch off and you can't put it down, and you've got, and then next minute you're looking at your young person or you the next day and you're going, why am I so tired? Because you're fucking sitting on that, and it's draining all that energy out of you because you can't switch your brain off.
I noticed a big difference, even like phone fast, and I leave my phones in the office. Do you know what I mean? But see, at first, don't get me wrong, I was pure, jittery and all that.
Aye.
But I could feel it, and I'm like, no, this isn't right.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So started eating boots, going out walks, but and like you said, my mood, I started, more energy. I was down, probably seen I was on my phone, down in Kansas. I used to slag folk for it, drink Monster. Any energy, buying all these and I'd got to Holland Bad and 70 quid in energy tablets and cans of Monster. The reality was I would have been drained by looking at screen time. But your brain's looking for, your monkey brain is looking for these things. Do you know what I mean? No, it's that. No, it's you need a can of Monster. No, it's no, wait a minute, it's a fucking phone. Yeah. It's as simple as that. Like, put it down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like I talked to you. We were chatting, obviously, earlier about that environment and that thing that you consume, what you consume as part of your environment. So if you're sitting consuming,
what you eat.
Like what you said there, you're sitting consuming porn or gambling or like influencers that make you mad or make you angry and all that. All that is there's a fucking transaction. There's a cost to all that.
No, there's a
cost. So if you're just consume, and you've got zero boundaries in place, so you've got a time where you're not going to look at your phone or you set your phone away or turn the fucking thing off or whatever. If all it is open season, 24 hours a day, and you best believe there's a cost. You're going to need to pay the bill.
You said an interesting word there, right? So boundaries. So see the issue. And I think this is in the whole, right? I'm actually saying this. So no, I'll stick it to like master kind of, no, because my world's but as a world, right? As a whole, see when you start implementing boundaries, see the reactive for that. It's really, really bad, by the way. And you're like, so just say, I'm like you, I don't, folks say I'm murdering my phone and that, right? I'm not really that hard to find.
Yeah.
I've got non-negotiables every day of the week.
Yeah.
Where I'm all, how to get me. I says, but and you start like, no, I'm no answering to that because I've not got an hour to listen to that, and I'm not like talking about work related, right? I'm just talking in general, or no, I'm not at your fucking fact thing me. Who is it? I seen it in we've talked about I seen this on Facebook, right? And I think you'd commented, and it was about you've changed.
Yeah.
So see when folk are saying that to you as an insult.
I know.
I'm like, sorry, man, well, wait a minute. No, I'm not changed.
But Darren, why are let's go there then. Why is someone installing boundaries in their life so difficult for other people, in your opinion?
Because as a society, we've got a lack of boundaries. There's no boundaries now.
So why is Darren installing certain types of boundaries around his life that will have a positive effect on him so difficult for others to cope with? Because I've no their boundaries. Why is it so difficult?
Because I don't understand the reasons of why it's important to me to implement the boundaries.
You think that's why it pisses him off so much?
Because you just say, like,
so tell me a wee bit about what boundaries
I'll give an example, right? This is, so I'm going to, I love an analogy story, right? So there's this wee boy, right, goes to school, and his mom gives him an apple every day, right? But the wee boy doesn't like apples, so he gives it to his pal. And this goes on for a few weeks, right? And one day his mom gives him a donut instead of an apple. So the wee boy goes to school, right? And the other boy says, "Where's my apple?" So that boy been giving him his time, right? And the other person expected it. Whereas it wasn't that. Do you know what I mean? It was like, so my boundaries came for, I was the very lack of boundaries, right, for years. My work and personal life overlapped all the time, right? I had the same phone, I didn't have a work phone. So my personal phone for family, friends, work, phone addicted, always on it. Fucking, I will fix you, right, like that song. I will do you know what I mean? Sitting with dinner with somebody, sitting with a pal. So for my time, and see your time, see the lack of boundaries, it fucking drained me, man. So this last year, like, and then I've kind of opened up, so my kind of working that it's kind of opened up, but it's kind of, so my lack of boundaries, right, I know now, the work I've done in it, see if my lack of boundaries, I know the dangers it's going to affect me. And see if I don't, so just say you say to me, you spit it down it because I've implemented a boundary with you, right? In my head, but see if I don't do this, Kev, there's going to be a time I can't be there for you at all.
Yeah.
Because this is at danger level with me. But this is like fucking cliff edge shit. And it's all to do with boundaries. Obviously, there's other factors, right, around about it, right, that's the contribute factor, right? But if I'm out all day in pure drain, dealing with stuff all day, and I'm with family or I'm with friends, and I'm just with myself, and I don't want to answer my phone, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no rules saying I need to answer my phone to you. And it's no personal to you. It's just a rule. It's a non-negotiable rule. And if it was a case of somebody would text me, no, and you would respond, obviously. But if it's just something that, and then, but see a lack of boundaries, see the dangers of that, like the people pleasing, they're always showing up, they want to be seen at things, the Superman complex, the Messiah complex, I'm there for you, you know, and this and that and this and that. And see, eventually you're so fucked, right? You're so drained. You're waking up in the morning, riddled with anxiety, riddled with impending sense of doom. And you know it's nonsense, right? So you've got this battle in your mind going on. Your demons come back. Do you know what I mean? And then you've maybe start implementing the boundaries, right? You get better. In fact, I know we're quite boundaries in line with that too, right? So I was listening to this, I was listening to this motivational thing, and it was this guy. But this is me a fucking tea, by the way. This past year, this is me a tea. And he was talking about the jet stream.
Uh-huh.
And he was talking about the birds that just fly in the jet stream, right? And then the jet stream goes and the birds dip. So I would maybe listen to one of your things, right? And I would steal your spirituality. I'd ride your wave, right?
Yeah.
I'd just say you've done some work on me or whatever. But I'm not continuing it. My boundaries are important to continue it because I've got enough to ride that wave. And then I'm dipping again. And this was a constant theme. And it was to do with boundaries. And it was to do with boundaries with relationships, work, personal. And see, implementing it came at a price as well, right?
Yeah.
But see the price it came at. It came at my peace of mind. It came at my refocus. Questioning work. I don't want to work that. This work. It's too much for me.
Yeah.
There's times this year. Too much for me. It's fucking like the drug deaths, the work. A lot of folk don't see the hidden work. It's like you're showing up to something, right? For an hour. They don't see 10 hours as we're into that hour.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Behind the scenes. And then there's another 2 hours after it. So there's like 13 hours for, and folks start kind of, folks start fucking, and it's just quite sore sometimes. You know, the backlash you get, the hate, the slander. You're like, wait a minute, man, what's happening here?
But Darren, is that just a lack of boundary, or is that you?
It's a few factors. Boundaries is a part of it, but there's other factors, aye.
Aye. It's allowing, it's also, it's, aye, it's also what you allow to come at you. If you, try to find the right words here to explain this.
What I take on, what I allow
Aye,
to absorb.
So there's a good thing. It's about what meaning you give something to. It's a Tony Robbins thing, this, right? Try to find the right words here. So what meaning you give a conversation, what meaning you give. So if what we know about human beings is their lack of boundaries or their lack of understanding or their lack of whatever, but what you take, so if we know that people are going to do that anyway, it's about what meaning you give that. So if you resent them because of their lack of boundaries or their lack of understanding or their lack of tolerance or whatever, and they're putting it on you, it's for you to go, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. That's a you problem.
I'm at that place now, but
Aye, which we've talked about there before we come on the podcast.
Journey to get to that place.
So I think you would have made their response to you,
Internalised it
action to you, you
personal.
would have made that a you problem.
Aye.
That's not a you problem. You don't have time in the day to make that a you problem.
There was
That
a
then
lot. There was a lot of your problems though,
no, but see if we go full circle on this, and there's a lot of people will listen to this and watch this and go, fucking hell, that's it. So if I go like that, so you come and do a thing for me, and I go, aye, Dan, so what I need you now to do is we now need to spend a couple of hours, you go, whoa, no, that's not the deal. That's not the deal. I don't have a couple of hours for that. What do you mean? And then suddenly I'm mad about that. I bet you need to help me now. No, no, I don't need to do any of that. Here's what we what agreed and here's what we signed up to together. I've got places to be, I've got people to see, I've got things to do, and that's a you thing. Whereas, and then what you said is right. So then they go, oh, he's a dick for that, and I don't hear those words. And if somebody's going to come at me with oh, you want to hear what they were saying after that thing? No, I don't.
no,
What do you
I
mean?
know.
No, I don't, because see if you tell me, then that becomes a me problem, and I don't want to know. We did some really good work, and I'm really grateful. I'm full of gratitude for that piece. But whatever comes after that, it's no for me. I don't have the time for that. And what you've shared is that's kind of where you are the now in your journey, if you like, without being using that kind of terminology. But you know what I mean.
I
Like
know what
you're
you mean.
starting to go like, I don't have time for that. I don't have energy for that. So keep it the fuck away from me.
Mm.
I've got too many other things I want to do and too many other things that I want to feel and see and experience. I don't have time for your miscrying me and your agenda.
You talk about it a lot, right? So it's like, it's not like your focus. If my focus is this, right, I'm going. I was listening to this first part one, right? It was just last week before you asked me to do this, right? And I hadn't listened to it for years. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, whoa. So listen to bits here. And I was like, that person's focused. I was focused. I knew that there was nothing. Could be a world warring about me and nothing was stopping me in my path, right? But, and I spoke to you about it before we come on. What I didn't know then, no, I was just a baby in the world.
Yeah,
It was maybe like 30, just say 38, right? I'd only just entered the world then. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? So I was focused, right? And the focus did. Like, I was focused for so long, and then we kept in, right? But what I didn't know then, and what I've learned now, just quote the journey, so what I've learned now is I dealt with all my stuff, my past trauma for addiction and relationships and all that stuff that came with the madness, right? You could envision it, right? I dealt with all that, or if I dealt with it, it was kind of compartmentalised. It was kind of I was going this way, right? But when I've come back to everything, for that podcast to then, there was a lot of fucking like. So if I'm going this way, and I was I'm focused at that now, right? But I wasn't aware of all that stuff that I wasn't equipped for. So it was hard to relearn how to navigate, like you say, my boundaries. And bearing in mind, I've left rehab now about 6 years,
yeah,
7 years, right? And that's me just this year, in fact, just this past few months. So I had the jet stream, I had to rid the way for a few years. All this just started like uni, whatever. And then I wasn't addressing it.
yeah,
Wasn't connecting, wasn't doing my advice.
yeah,
And it came at a price. Listen, I'm not some stuff what I'm not going to, but it really came at a price. Being ill equipped for life, for relationships, for family, the best intentions. Seem to do this, do that, the boundaries again, and but the sad reality was, and I need to look at myself for that, and I have been doing work on myself. What was my part in all this? Because there's always a part, right? There's always a part, and it was, and there was a lot that I wasn't equipped for. If you asked me 7 years ago, Aye, fucking no bother, bro. What are you talking about that? But new life tells me no. So and again, it's like, so if I do the word recovery, but I'll not take it back there, right? This is how the demographic needs to change. We need to be teaching all this stuff,
Yes.
all this fucking life stuff that normal people know.
Yes.
Because there are no babies in the world. We need
Yeah.
to coping mechanism, boundaries, healthy relationships, positive peers, social media, all that, all the social issues without getting down a rabbit hole with them.
Yeah.
Because the places it took me there was, well, you know, some of the places it took, it was fucking, I never thought I'd go back. Mentally, no, really, mentally, it was dark. It was dark, do you know what I mean? But it was because I wasn't doing all the stuff.
It's interesting you're making reference there, which a lot of people might know have saw the first episode or listened to the first episode. One of the things I was wanting to ask you about was about the charity, because it was about to become a charity, or it was about to go out there as a charity when we recorded the last episode. The charity is well underway and nobody's as proud. You'll struggle to find anybody as proud as me out there, about you, who you are, what you stand for, and the charity itself. So for somebody listening, and I'm going to ask you this question, then I'm going to be behind the screen plugging this fucking power cable in before this dies out.
Mm.
So just keep talking with it. What for somebody listening or watching this podcast, give me a sort of whistle top stop tour of Minds of Recovery. What is the charity doing, and what is 2026 going to bring for the charity? So fast forward me through where we are to now, and then most importantly, what is the plans for Minds of Recovery? And you've kind of already told me the recovery is going to drop. So I'm interested to hear about what is going to happen with the charity. What's it going to do?
Right.
Going to
You
plug.
plug the cable in.
You just start talking.
So, to answer your question, so just to get a bit brief history. So I'd always done the work. I'd always kind of wanted to work in addiction communities, etc. But we got charity status in March the 15th, 2023. And to be honest with you, so I'd always worked in addiction, right, and it was good. So the groups was good, or one-to-one support. But since then, I've learned it's like running a charity. It's hard work. Do you know what I mean? It's like the paperwork, the admin stuff. It's 80% of work behind the scenes. Nobody sees. You're behind a computer screen. You're doing reporting, funding, meetings, etc. But at the core of it means that's just the kind of that's just stuff right there. But to explain what Minds is, right? So Minds is an acronym for mentoring individuals for new destinations and support. And what our goal is, there's a famous saying that I follow, the opposite addiction is not sobriety, the opposite addiction is connection. So Minds is so the mentoring individual for new destination support. So the original vision and the same vision is to change the narrative. And what I mean by changing the narrative, so that stuff me and Kevin were talking about earlier on, about what is recovery, what's this, what's that. In layman's terms, there's a lot of shite on that. See on that? That's a lot of put that away. Do you know what I mean? Let's change the narrative. Let's get rid of these labels. Because, and there's even me and Kev me and you just spent 20 minutes talking about it, right? So you imagine the amount of hours, days, months that I've had debates about this one thing. Imagine that was flipped. So imagine all the folk who joined you that day in that stage, right? And flipped all the hours. And listen, pure articulate people, educated, doctors, articulate as fuck, right? The power they could have had. Years of discussing all this. Yeah. You know, folk are dying. We have addiction rising, drug culture changing. So if you flipped it, so going back. So the changing narrative is no. Listen, let's break this down a bit. It's not really that complicated. Let's keep it simple. Let's simplify it. Let's get grassroots stuff right. I will work these, but let's get it on the ground. Crisis teams. Let's meet them. Let's change the language. Let's learn your language. so we can break it down for our troops. Let's work together. But we've kind of made wee kind of impacts with it, like working, like, and like, I'm involved with a lot of national stuff. Do you know what I mean? I'm quite fortunate and grateful enough to be in amongst some stuff. Do you know what I mean? And localised Minds of Recovery. I've got a kind of strong presence, like working with an alcohol and drug partnership, working in partnership with them.
Yeah.
But so what we do now is so for then see that year. So bearing in mind, and I think this, so I've not really touched upon this, right? But this kind of came with a lot of issues too in the relationships or whatever, for foot going too deep. But the first year of my charity, so I'm still at uni. It was my third year at uni, right? It was too much. That's a kind of difference. I'll go into that in a minute. But I was only making £160 a week.
Yeah.
In fact, my first 3 months, I never made anything.
Yeah.
So no money. I was lucky I was getting kind of sessionals with the council, right? I think it was like 12 hours or something.
Yeah.
And then we got a bit of funding. I'm grateful for the lottery. I'm grateful for the National Lottery. Gave us just under 10,000 to open a group in Kilburnie and Irvine. And so I could use some of that for my salary. But that was only £160 a week.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? But I had goals. I had goals. I knew what I was doing. Folk couldn't see it. So just say me and you're like, what you doing? I'm like, listen, and you can't, they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And you're trying to explain it, but they don't know. But you know, because you know you're fucking boom.
Yeah.
I know this, because there's nothing to tell them. Right, so that was for a year. £160. We done some good work with football team, that football team, three teams have come off the bracket. One of them's an amateur. And bear in mind, the football team was so this is no me being stigma. I got the ragamuffins, right? They would never attend anything. It was like dog issues, mental health issues, or just social isolation. The majority of the men, and see the guys coming and they're telling you that they're lonely and that, you're holy fuck, man, do you know what I mean? So and then they formed other teams after the bracket, so it was a success, do you know what I mean? It was a good, and they wouldn't go to services, they wouldn't go to your traditional support systems, but they found this as an outlet, and then you can kind of build a support around it. So that was kind of our approach, like changing our, how do we, with some groups in under-resourced areas and that, they've set up their own groups now, because I never seen myself getting into, parachuting into a community. That the idea should be you're kind of training people up for them, if they know the issues of the community better than me. And there's no better therapeutic value than a local making an impact in their community, do you know what I mean? So we done a few of them. What else? So, and then I was fortunate enough through a partnership with Veterans First Point to get in. It was a private prison at the time, Kilmarnock Prison. And we opened 2 groups up in there. First, it was kind of hard for me, I'm not going to lie. Know that language again, the state triangle you talk about.
Yeah.
For 30 odd years, I had the language of authority. Do you know what I mean? So now then you're working with the prison, you're in the prison, and you've got a lot of internalised stuff coming up in you. But I flipped it and it worked to advantage. So, and you know yourself, I'm big in events, so we've done. I'm really, really big in Overdose Awareness Day. That last one we done there, I think it was like 300 odd people came. Do you know what I mean?
I saw that event, Darren. Is that a multitude of people organising it? Is that your event?
No, so that one was in partnership. So I was the lead.
Yeah.
So because everybody, that's a non-negotiable with me. That's like, doesn't matter what's going on. You buying the whole, that's a non-negotiable.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like, so I was the lead, but we were joined by like Cafe Solace, supported by ADP team, Broken Chains come down. No, it was, and that's what made it good.
Mm-hmm.
Because for one day, it wasn't political.
Good.
It was beautiful. There was families there. Because all organisations work with the same folk, sometimes there was a crossover.
Well, I noticed, talking about crossovers and partnership, I've noticed recently you've made a crossover with my friend and previous podcast guest, over on the East Coast, Jamie's mum,
Um,
which was a really one, even as I say it, man, it was one of the most emotionally driven podcast episodes, man, that I've ever had to listen or hold space for. But it made me smile to see
I should say
two good spirits.
that's the kind of way, is it?
Yeah,
So no.
yeah, aye, yeah. So it was nice to see two good spirits collaborating. And again, I'm looking in the bowl. I don't know, I can't see but I can see that there's work being done there
Mm.
and connection being formed.
So like Debbie Ann's story, like
Yeah,
no, fucking, I mean that's just a kind of touches like just lost her son 3 years ago.
yeah,
Uh, for the same issues we were talking about there, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And I don't think she would mind me saying that.
no,
Do you know what I mean? Just
no,
I love Debbie Ann to bits. Like the work she's doing amazing. It's like the impact and especially so that's a big gap. We don't even get that down here. So she works specifically with 18 to 28-year-olds in West Lothian. And so I'd followed her stuff for years and then just connected with her recently. But like you say, it's her emotional passion into it. It's that heart. You know what I mean? And she's articulate. But the work she's doing with young people and how to how to how to connect with them because it's hard. Listen,
absolutely.
I'm fortunate because even though I'm 43, right, I dress as if I'm 18 and I still talk like an head, do you know what I mean? So with my 270s and my Montex tracky, uh, but the work it's unbelievable, man. And I know she's in a growth zone too with big plans for Jamie Sanctuary. But when I went up, I said I'll be honest with you, I was nervous. I'm always because I've noticed this with other meetings, and I don't like saying it right, and I think this is a word for it. But if I'm wrong, I hope you do correct me, somewhere. If I'm not the lead singer, if it's no my thing, I'm quite, and I shouldn't be because I know my stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I was a bit kind of apprehensive going up, and because she asked me to talk about my life, right, and I can talk about any. Give me your policy, right, or give me like chai and I'm away. Give me connection and I'm flying, right. See if you ask me to talk about myself, I'm like, I was kind of, so I shared a wee bit and we didn't chime, but and I'm not easily impressed with, I'm not, but the work up there is but also, and I'm sure she'll not mind me saying this today, how something tragic, right? So there's Jamie at 20-year-old, right? For whatever reason, right, or whatever, was going he completed suicide, do you know what I mean? In his local town, kind of well liked boy, and then but it's flipped to the positive, do you know what I mean? And that's and it, but it's just how the impact of that is like, so how, in fact, do you know something? I'm going to say something here, right? How the fuck is a society have we got to the fucking stage, right? There's something that needs to happen for something to change, for a fucking support network to get set off the back of that. How did that need to happen? It's like drug deaths in a way. Could it have been preventable or whatever?
But Darren, see, I understand what you've just said, and I understand what there's almost a little bit of that bitterness in it and that fire. I get it. I totally get it. But every great movement comes through,
Mm,
happens. There is no case for it unless you're given evidence that it's needed. And unfortunately, all the great movements and all the great missions all begin. Robbie, you heard Robbie for release at the Fads Awards night talking about it took that his local area Cumnock now, which is badly affected by poverty, job losses, mental health, drugs, all this. You know, it took all those deaths for him to go, I need to stand up. I need to be uncommon here and
Mm.
be and step forward. Fads was born for that. Your work was born
Of
for
course.
that. I hear you, but without adversity, without loss, without heartbreak, then others that come next can't benefit from what comes out of that pain. Um, you wish it wasn't so. You wish that people could create ideas like that without somebody dying for it to happen. It doesn't work like that. You need to be um, your motivation to do it will be fueled by one or two things. And I know I've told you this before. It's either fueled by pain or it's fueled by pleasure. Pleasure will only take you so far. Pain will take you the fucking full way.
No, that's true.
Pain will take you through, if you think of how much pleasure has taken your charity on your own personal growth and whatever, I would like to let me say this. I would like to have a little charity that can make a difference in North Ayrshire. Let's see how far that energy takes you.
Mm.
Or I will not stop until other people can be saved for the pain that I've watched people close to me enduring. Yeah. I mean, you could have framed that up 10 different ways. 10 pleasures, 10 pains. Pain will always win.
Oh, listen, and I totally agree with you, but it's sometimes
No, I'm
you
with
get
you, mate. I'm with
totally
you.
fucking demoralised with it.
I'm with you. Do you what the only thing you can hope for is that take that I've just given is that you and Debbie and all that, you'll not always be fueled by pain, right?
It's healing, and there's a healing.
So you'll take it so far and then the pleasure will kick in because you'll just start to engulf yourself in the pleasure of watching what you've created flourish. You'll get the pain of trying to convince people that it's needed and all that won't be required because people will start to go, this is the norm. We have good pioneers and good charities and good things happening round about us that people can benefit from sooner rather than later.
No, again,
I hear you, mate. My thing has been men's mental health for longer before it became a fashion statement.
aye,
Um,
and a logo.
and a logo and a special day or a special week. What I say is, you know, in the last couple of years, I've been in three search parties. We never got to any of those men in time. The last one, I was only meters away for the body. I now know that to be true, and I didn't know he was there. I don't want that to become the thing. I'm trying to change that into like I'm seeing more young men now proactively. Um, More young men are coming to me now than ever before. And initially that scared the shit out of me because it took me back to my old career and all that. And I was like, I don't know if I have that in me. But in actual fact, it's a positive. My fears and anxieties around that. So it's no coming for pain anymore. It's actually a pleasure experience because these young men are more open to actually doing the work and looking in than I actually believe.
Mm,
They're actually no as entrenched in their behaviours and attitudes and beliefs than you and me would be. They actually you can break bread
mm.
quickly with them. You
They've
can
not got the layers.
they've not got the layers, they've not got the scars yet. They are in a place that doesn't feel right to
What's
them.
that, malleable? Is that the word? Malleable.
Don't
You can
know.
mould them. Can I?
A- Absolutely that. um, you're able to in a quick conversation go, oh fuck, we can do stuff with this. I guess why am I using that analogy? Because I don't want it to become my thing. For your thing, is it possible that somewhere down the line, what you do and what others do, maybe it doesn't need to be the only the lost causes, only the people who are so far down the path that you've got heavy, heavy work to pull them back? Is it that you can start making interventions quickly, with your insights and your learnings and your tools and your
So
experience?
that would probably go that would be so next year. That's a goal for us to the next year. So totally. So the work we're doing, and see the first one too. I remember about the session with you, and I think I fucking ranted for about an hour about what I wanted, and the new. But, so now I've learned patience. So it's taken me 2 years just to build a good foundation, learning how to run it, learning all the ins and outs, building the relationships, everything. So everything's connections, right? You need the relationships. You know what I mean? You need with everybody across the board, but it's all been a work for next year. So next year we'll see what. No, next year I will. Mines will be creating a bigger impact. We'll have a bigger presence. We'll have more staff, more volunteers, and other stuff that will kind of get revealed next year. But it will be like the year where X, Y, and Z's happen. But let's fucking let's change this. Let's no we are no let's we are as a collective going to change the narrative, even if it's only in a localised area. But let's get and target folk. Let's ease our light. Let's no. It's complex. I've got to commit to another service, but let's meet the fucking needs. Basically, basic. In fact, there, do you know something? Look at this, right? This is a notebook I use. So it's Maslow's, right?
Right.
And it's so the physiological needs, so the basic. So you need to meet the aim. So the goal is to get into this stage, right? So the physiology needs, so they're more food, water, breathing, shelter. This is their basic, they're non-negotiables. So you get round about that, right? And then you get into safety. So their body, health, family, social connections. The next one, love, belonging. So that's your friendship, family, intimacy, your connection again. Me and yours big in this, your esteem, your self-efficacy. So that's like your confidence. That's when I describe, I describe recovery as this, right? You ever seen Darwin's Theory of Evolution?
I don't know.
For the monkeys, and they're
Aye,
all crouched,
aye, 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 yep, yep.
and eventually they're fucking what? Heat up, come on. That's the way I describe the recovery journey. And then the next one. So this is when you know you've made the impact.
How will you know, Darren?
Because you just know, mate. It's I know the impact I've made, right? So I
But
was
how will you know you've reached the pinnacle?
so I've reached the pinnacle now.
Have you?
Aye, definitely,
Right? That's interesting.
definitely. Maybe at the low cost bit.
I'll challenge that.
Right.
I don't think you ever reach it.
So
So
you
I've got a different take on it that's evolved.
so your morality, right?
Uh-huh.
Your creativity,
Uh-huh.
your acceptance. So that's when you've self actualized it. You're like, no, this. So we talked about it there. We talked about it before this. All this shit's going on about you. Dan's fucking on the methadone again. Dan's doing their what you call Dan or this or Kev and that. You're like, no, I've self actualized myself. I'm boom. I can't hear you.
Aye,
I'm
but that's
creative.
that's only one context that you've reached that. There's so many other contexts where you go, actually, I'm a couple of layers down. You,
But do you know like it comes and goes though?
no, no, and this is
So
the
this is so I know what you're saying. This is the pinnacle. I know what
so
you mean.
the change in my one of the things that I've changed in the last couple of years is I was always very goals driven and I was the goals guy on fads and all that kind of thing. What I now say is I'm the goal. The goal is evolution. The goal is constant moving forward. If I think that this is why you see people when they hit a goal, a big goal, and then they go over a cliff. right off a cliff after it. That's because they believed that that was them making it. That wasn't them making it. That was just, remember we talked about the dots? That was just another dot that was getting joined.
Can you remember the session I had with you with NLP? And I said to you, when I get charity status, I've made it.
I remember it all, mate.
Remember? When
Aye.
I and I was like, that's me, I fucking made it.
How wrong were you?
So fuck it. That was just the start, man.
That was just the start. I think, like, you know what I think
So
about
maybe
when
I can
what I'm trying to say
I'm
is
open. I know what you mean. I know what
see
you're.
the second you believe that you've hit the top of the mountain, see if you ever go in Damon Rose, you go up a mountain, you go up to what you believe is a false summit.
False
You
peak.
believe that's the top. You believe I fucking made it, and then you get to the top and you go, "Yeah, bastard." There's
Aye.
another fucking bit to go. But
Well, I was like that when I got to Thai.
in actual fact, it's the false summits that you're going to talk about that night. It's going to be those moments where you thought you fucking hit it, and then you found out that you hadn't hit it. You still had growth to go. You still had pain to endure. I think what I'm learning about myself is it's all these false summits where I think I've hit that wee drawing you just had the top, and I go like I thought my NLP, the coaching, then I thought it was the King's Club, then I realised, holy shit, breath work, holy shit. Then I went, whoa, I'm back doing another few layers, and then I'm back up again. Then I saw that I thought that's me, I'm functioning as the greater power. Then I had an interaction with a family member or an old friend that sent me back down 3 levels. It's like fucking snakes and ladders.
No, do you know? So you know, I like a quick reflection, right? So see what I want to aim for then, right? So you know about this year, right? Like the isolation I felt, my mental health dipping, all that stuff, right? So see if I could get this one, right? I'm not saying I've made it, but I'll be more peaceful. The love and the belonging. So the friendship, the family, the intimacy, and that's like the third one, the connection. Just that love and belonging. Do you know what I mean?
Darren, see what you're saying there. What you're describing is having solid foundations. So see if you've got solid foundations built on those kind of principles of the love, belonging, and all that kind of thing, then that will enable you to then try creativity, imagination, experimentation. You'll be able to try all those things. You can't try all those things if you don't have those foundations that you're saying. See if I can get that, Kev. See, in the end of the day,
No, I probably got it, but you know what? And
no, but it's really
it's
good what
true,
you're
no, it's
saying.
true.
And I think so many other people will relate to that.
It's the
But
isolation.
aye,
It's a,
what you're looking for those needs to be met. You're looking for those stable roots to form, those solid foundations to build you onto the next stuff. You want to. We talked about this about what have been the things if we talk about enablers and disablers, if we think about what's disabled you from being at your very, very best this year and everyone else, I mean, this podcast will land straight off the bat of 2026 will be one of the first things that people listen to. Well, this will relate massively. If you look back and you go, well, what disabled me last year? Where was I in lack? And where was I in abundance? People will relate a lot to that statement you've just said. And when we talk about that, love and what was the other ones you read? Belong.
love and belonging, friendship, family, intimacy, and sense of connection.
There you go, man. So again, if we keep that simplistic, we can take two different models here. So if we go the old classic trifecta and we talk about the three corners, family and relationships, health and fitness,
Yep.
work and career and education,
Okay.
sorry. If we look at it in that simplistic view, if we be conscious of what we're spending our time with and what we're investing in, then that's one way of looking at it. If you go the other way, the key to the kingdom one, which we were talking about before we jumped on this call, which was, if we're at the middle, how we feel, our state, state of mind, how we feel, what we're experiencing. If we think about that being shaped by the events and the environment all the time,
Physiology.
then that is going to shape who we are, what we feel, what we have. Now, all of that feeds into that needs thing. But if you look at what's my foundations,
That building on.
what's my key relationships, what's the things that I add into my cup, that kind of thing, then that then allows you to then engage in the next level up. It's a really, really good thing what you've got in the cover of that. So if you imagine it like the old puggy, gamble, gamble, you're
Uh,
hitting it, you're hitting it, you're hitting it, you're going for it. Well, you're not going to be able to hit that bounce that thumb off that if you've no dealt with a level below. That needs to be intact. It needs to be there. I need to have the
and
right
you need to
people.
have it entrenched.
Yes, I need to have the right people, the right places, the right mentality in there so that I can then level up. And then you're leveling up. And I believe, my subjective, simplistic view is that what you've got in that cover there is, I think you will have moments of bouncing into that top pinnacle, but you're
And
going to be
then
humbled and you're going to be reminded that
and you just need to learn to sit and ride it.
well, this never ends. Never ends. I think I've maybe thought that I've hit that top layer
I
multiple
thought I thought
times.
I then boom.
Boom, back down. Even in the last year, I've been a dad. Um, Conversations with my grown-up son, who's a dad. Now, conversations with him that's when have I fully been there for him? No, back down. Boom. And it's not a negative connotation. Right, I've got learning today.
It's accepting it. It's accepting it.
How do I show up for him? It's no enough. Presence with my wife. Is it bulletproof? Is it full? The way that I wrote back in January about how I wanted to show up in this year. Did I hit all those markers? Some I did, some I didn't. Right, we'll see the ones I didn't. What was missing? What is it that, right, okay, back down, boom, work on it, work on
Or
it.
what was going on about you that made you miss the
No,
markers?
see, as I'm saying that, people will go, that seems like a lot of work. No, it's no.
It's no.
It's no.
Because see if it's no, see the price for a wee totty bit of work. Listen, and I can bear testimony because I knew all this stuff, like intensive work, all that, and then see letting it slip, see the price to pay, bear, see if you get through it, you should be close. And some people are unlucky and don't get through it. Do you know what I mean? Because the price to
I challenge anybody, Dan. Anybody
heavy.
they're going to listen to this at the start of 2026. They're going to listen to this now. I challenge anybody that they have to do, like, so what you've had to do with your charity, which is go, what is it I want to achieve with this charity this year? How am I going to achieve it? What am I going to need? Who am I going to need? How much time is it going to take? What's the sacrifices?
What resources?
And how will I feel if I get that thing? How will I feel? Because see if I can't articulate that, I will feel boom. Then it's no the goal. It's the wrong fucking thing. What is it I want to see? What is it I want to feel in terms of what is I want? What would be my goal in terms of my relationships? Right. Well, what's that going to take? What's that going to look like? Blah blah blah. You have to run it through the computer, and you have to see what comes out the other side. And if you can't do that, then what you're going to find is several months later, you're going to go, I gave up on that. Well, you did because you never ran it through and you never properly looked at the system you're going to need in
And
place.
we find that a lot.
Loads, man. Loads. Somebody says, I want to lose weight. Why do you want to lose weight? Tell me about
Or how you
that. Right,
want
well,
to
I want
lose
to
weight.
lose weight because, well, such and such has been saying to me that, oh, right, let's talk about that, man. That ain't your goal. Right, let's run it again.
A
I want to lose
feeling.
weight.
That's a feeling. It's not
I
a
want to
goal.
lose weight. Well, it's somebody else's fucking goal as well that they think about you. But I want to lose weight because I've noticed that I'm breathless. I don't feel my best. I can't wear the same clothes that I used to wear. I want this, right? Well, let's talk about the system you would need to get that. What you want to achieve. How will that? And then you run that through. Or I want to get fit. Right? Well, what's that look like? Well, everybody's running and I need to run. Do you? Or I want a promotion at work. Okay, right. Well, why do you want that promotion at work? Because, boom. by the end of what the outcome might be, actually, the goal is I need to leave this fucking job because I fucking hate it. Right, well, it's not a promotion's not going to help you.
Aye,
It's going to
aye.
make you fucking more.
Just leave your job. Aye.
And I think there's something in that about
Aye,
that
you need to meditate on your why. You need to
goals
plan
and
it.
systems piece. Yep, yep. Does it all link up? What you've just absolutely said. Does it connect with who I want to be as a person, my purpose, my why? Will the goal take me forward? That evolution.
Mm.
Will it continue to make me a wee bit better? Will a wee bit happier? A wee bit more content? I did that post the other day there about, you know, looking back with a sense of pride on how far I've come, sense of pride and achievements, and do I have much more lined up to keep that
So
going?
it's weird to say that, right? So see, I've never in the 6 year, like, so it doesn't matter my achievements are. I've never. So when I seen that, like, even before I'd seen that, I'm like, I'm proud of myself. I'd never said it. The 6 year, 7 year I've been after drugs. I've never. Foreigners, you've said it. Family, and I'm like, aye, right, let's
Yeah,
right, we're doing this. Do you know what I mean? But see, now I'm like, no, I'm fucking proud of myself, man.
absolutely.
So it doesn't matter if you're not proud. See, if you're not proud, that's fine. That's your stuff. But see me, I'm fucking. I know the shit I've been through,
Yeah,
right? Of the shit I've like passed or built, and like, how the amount of work I've put into this. Do you know what I mean? So you're fucking right. I'm proud. And see if it's ego or whatever. That's fine. But I know I'm proud. So
aye, one hundred
so you
percent.
ways, I'll be doing this or like put the
Yeah,
right. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? That
yeah. No, I love it. Listen, we're going to chat all day if I let you.
oh,
No,
it's been a pleasure.
listen, this has been magic. It's like part two. I foresee us before the year's done, we'll do another part as well
I'll be
because
like Game of Thrones.
it's like Game of
Like this.
Thrones, man, multi seasons. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a good way to kick off the new year with just a nice, wee, fresh perspective. It'll land for a lot of people. It'll land at a time where people will be doing the 75 hard again. So
I'm
they'll
gonna
be
do that.
they'll be listening to their podcasts and stuff like that. So a wee conversation like this is going to be good. Darren, just for fresh listeners, fresh viewers, where can they catch you in the work that you're doing?
So we're based in 61 East Road in Irvine. We've got an office in Irvine, just across from Aldi's, Buzzer 6. Uh, I'll, I'll give Kev can drop my email or my work number is 07902 793 014. And if I don't answer you, send me a text and I'll get back to you straight away. And that could be for anything. So it could be for addiction, mental health, even just a signposting or a rant. Listen, I love a rant, do you know what I mean? I need a rant to listen to. And I wish you all the best and always remember your worth. And do you know what? Be fucking proud of yourself.
Be proud of yourself. Yeah, that's brilliant, mate. It's a great place to land, and I'll put the links to your socials in the notes of the
Why
show.
Facebook TI, mine's a recovery.
No, I'll do that. Darren, pleasure as always, my man. For everybody listening, I'm lining up some guests for this year. Make sure you follow the Mind Masters podcast. It's just, it's like every night day. There's no gain for me. I just give you a diverse conversation that I like to have with somebody. I just make sure that I record that and I put it out there. So if you have liked it, drop a wee comment in the show notes. Give it a share, let others listen to it, let others like it as well, stick it in your groups and your communities, and get ready for 2026. I'm going to have loads of guests lined up. Kind of like Dan and I have spoke about in this episode, I've probably allowed that to slip a little bit because I've had enough episodes in the bank. So what I realise is it's time to start having some conversations, start recording them, start putting them out for you to listen to when you're at your walk and you're running, stuff like that. So I have a fantastic listen, and I look forward to hearing how he's all doing.